Thanks for being here. Leave your name in the comments so we can give you a shout out and say hello. I'm going to go ahead and show you what Michael and I have been busy doing this week. We'll be right back.
Now the obstacle. Jeez. Let's go. Kaliki, it doesn't look to me like you're helping.
He's helping. He's supervising.
Let's get to work.
And hello, I'm Michael.
And I'm Grace.
And we are California Travel Videos.
At home this week.
At home, yeah. So that was not out in the open road. Tell us about what that was all about, Grace. Good job.
Well, I wanted a garden. Hello, RV Weekends. Thanks for being here. And I was going to extend our growing space and have some more vegetables. And then we decided to get serious. I was poking a little fun. Michael was serious. So we got busy, and that's what it ended up looking like. So we're tired. So we've got a good show for you.
And so let's see. This is March 23rd, 2021. And the first, we're going to talk about road trippers with a bonus that you might be interested in. A great deal. We've got a coupon code for you. Not that we make any money off of it, but we've liked the service. And maybe you will too if you want to give it a try. Next up, Grace.
And we've got some news on the Great American Rail Trail.
Oh, yes. We love bicycles. Number 3, odds and ends. And boy, there's quite a few in this one. Talk about stimulus checks, the RV supply chain. Where is that stuff for people who want new RVs? Camping World has a lawsuit against another company. We'll talk about that. And Grace will tell us about RVs hanging over the side of bridges. And the 2020 Reader's Choice Travel Awards. What else, Grace?
Oh no, BML closures in Reno. Stay tuned.
And BLM too. Okay.
I always say BML.
I know you do. Yes. I'm dyslexic, aren't we all? And number 5, U.S.-Canada border restrictions extended. Hopefully not too long. We'll talk about that. And the number 6 item, Grace.
Montana legislator passes a bill to increase allowable RV length. Stay tuned and we will talk about all these things. And if we have time, we'll have a little quiz.
Oh, okay. So are we ready to begin? But first of all, look at that. I think Sue is out there. Maybe
Hi, Sue.
Robert. I'm not sure who, but Big Bob. But I'm good to have y'all here. And it was about 4 or 5 days ago. I can't remember which one. But I woke up. It was 4 and then it was 5. And I was like, what's on YouTube? And I said, Bob's got his morning coffee. So
yeah, they're early.
I asked if he was going to sing a lullaby to put me back to sleep. And he said, no, that might not put me back to sleep. But that was fun. Yeah, it was good to see his morning show. I don't think I've ever done the 5 o'clock show. Well, that's on the left coast for all of us here.
I popped in, was it yesterday, Sue, or this morning? I think it was this morning because I was up early, our time, 4 a.m. I know you guys are always up early.
That they are. And that's about the time we turn off the batons. I'm sometimes 4 or 5 o'clock. I'm getting to sleep in the morning, get my 4 or 5 hours of obligatory sleep, and then I'm good to go.
I know we are on opposite hours these days.
Strangers in the night. Okay, number 1, Road Trippers Plus. Are you ready, Grace?
Hey, Shailene and Dean, how are you?
Hey, that's right. We should, first off, we're going to do a big shout out for Grassroots Living. Grassroots, all one word, second word's living. And they are cooking. I see that, Grace, I don't want to say we're left in the trails, but man, their sub count is going. We're getting close to 1,000. We're getting really, really close.
Oh yeah.
But they're moving out, and they're well worth it. So if you haven't seen their, seems like now I'm seeing them do something special. Have you noticed that, Grace?
The premieres. We're gonna have to check that out.
Premieres. We're gonna have to do some of our premieres too. Tell them a little bit about our last show. What was our last show, honey?
Our last show we just put out yesterday is from Valley of Fire. So if you haven't had an opportunity, it's such a beautiful, beautiful place. So, as always, our main goal is to inspire people to go and see the beautiful country. So hopefully you'll
goes in Vegas. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What were you gonna say, honey?
I say what goes in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? But
I'll let you go.
in Valley of Fire, it comes out. We used to talk about it.
Yep, thank you. We are getting close, so that's nice. And what's going to be really good is we were thinking about it, and we were kind of talking about names. So if you have any names for our tribe, what did I come up with the other day, honey? Something. Oh, Happy Trailers, the Trailblazers.
Trailers, yeah, that's a good one.
Because we always do the Happy Trails. So I was thinking the Trailblazers, but we love the idea of having a community tab so that we can communicate more frequently with you.
That's what we're really looking forward to.
Hello, Corey and Lori. How are you?
Really do that. Hey, good to see you, our Northwoods friends. If you haven't signed up for a membership there also, is that they've got a great channel, Mr. and Mrs. Blackstone Grill, and they did a recent good expose on the new one. We're used to the griddles, which are hooked up to the propane, but now they've got one that for those of you who want to be inside this time of year where it's kind of cold, with the ceramic top. So a great video they've done. And that's a lot of other things. But up there in their neck of the woods, that's in northern part of Michigan, it's starting to thaw out. So good things are happening. We enjoy their show a lot. So, okay. So first up.
You have a coupon code.
A coupon. Or is it coupon?
Either or. Potatoes. Potato.
Let's see. I think I can get the screen here. I'm going to go ahead and do a screen sharing. And then I guess we need to have a little mini-me. Where do we want to put me? No, wrong side.
Get into your corner, Michael.
Oh, I didn't do I'm going to have to. Oops, sorry about that. Got the wrong screen there. That'll work. Okay. So the coupon code over at roadtrippers.com/plus. And it's not luck. ITSNOTLUCK. And it's not affiliated with us, but we've just seen it. And since we've had such good results with it when we've used it, used to we just kind of, did the Google or the Allstays apps or whatever. But if you want to kind of plan a trip and see what your points of interest are along the way, pretty cool. So you can do it for free if you're not really ready to sign up, but I don't know how long this 40% off is, but it's going to be reduced or is reduced from $30 to $18 with that coupon code. It's not luck. So
I love a good sale.
Do a taste test, with the free one. I think you can get 5 stops along the way for your free version. But you can see some of the things that they have there, such as traffic report conditions on the road, if you don't use Google or Waze or whatever for that collaboration to build with friends, kind of like, in fact, they are affiliated now with, I think they're all owned together by To-Go or To-Go, whichever way you want to say that company, which is also part of the consortium now of our village. So one happy family. So anyway, that's
associated with Togo.
Right. Togo. I think that's what RV Miles, I think that's what he calls them. Togo. 8 million points of interest.
Points of interest.
Yeah, and they do have excuse me, I'm going to go back just a little bit before I get to Grace's item, if I can.
Grassroots Living has using this app all the time, and they love it.
Yeah, I think the other one that's out there, I can't think of the name of it right now, but it is good also. So if you already have one or have an affinity for one or another, but this one is, I said, they have 3 kind of apps and companies all together. So, one to consider, but at least go ahead and try it free and just kind of see what it's about. And I think you'll find that as you're going somewhere, if you can find some points of interest along the way, we used to be, we get out in fact, Grace, remember when we went around the United States in 90 days, and I probably had about 25 or more of the AAA books, the book list. Well, they're pretty thick. They're about an inch each.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, that's kind of a lot of paper to carry.
It was. On those 8 million points of interest, we're going to have to check that out because I just learned of a new one in our not too far area over by Sacramento. Did you know that the Folsom prison has a museum?
I did not know this.
There is a museum. So we have to see if that's on the road trippers points of interest. But, there's a lot of Johnny Cash memorable.
I was going to say Johnny Cash never spoke to it about the, I keep saying the Ring of Fire rather than the Valley of Fire. Johnny Cash has got me kind of brainwashed there. So how about Grace? Tell us about the Great American Rail Trails. What's the latest going on there?
All righty. Well, for the Great American Rail Trail, the website, railstotrails.org/Great American Rail Trail. I'll put that in our links after the show's over. It opens by saying, picture yourself pedaling across an entire country on a safe, seamless, and scenic pathway, or walking a local trail that connects along historical routes. So this trail will be 37,000 miles long between.
Wait, not 37,000. You mean 3,700?
3,700 details. Don't get hung up on the details.
Just a zero, just an extra zero.
Okay. Anyway, it connects Washington to Washington, and it's projected that
it's just in one state of the state of Washington,
Washington D.C. to the state of Washington.
Okay.
And it's going to go through 12 states, including Washington, Idaho, Montana, Nebraska, Wyoming, etc., all the way. And it's going to take 2,000 completed trail miles. And the goal is to get this done by 2040. So they obviously
wait a second. 2040, isn't that like about 19 years away?
Yes, but they're working on it. So I'm going to put the link. And obviously, the more donations that they get and the more publicity they get, we might actually be able to ride it by the time, I'm 70, maybe in the next 10 years. So that's definitely something to look forward to.
Time out.
What?
You forgot something.
What did I forget?
Your buddy.
Oh, you'll be 80.
No, not that. Oh. Who's in charge of the Department of Transportation? Your buddy.
I didn't forget that at all. I know he's.
Well, tell him, because he's obviously you sent me something just a couple days ago about didn't he come out with, and I guess we better say we're talking about Pete Buttigieg, is that he came out with something recently about promoting bicycles, not just cars and roads. What was that all about, Grace?
Yeah. He's talking about that Europe is far ahead of America and how he wants to get the roads to be a lot more safe for pedestrians and for bicyclists. So I think he's really going to be pushing this project forward. So it's definitely something to stay tuned for.
I think now that he's in, you can forget 2040. I think it's 2025 maybe. So anyway, that is pretty cool. And so I guess getting back, so whatever it is, there's already half of it complete. And there's, already many thousands of miles of trails, but this is the vision just to go across the country. So
we have to do that section all over again because I forgot to put my new banner.
Oh yeah.
I had a banner just for that and I forgot to put it up. So
but if you go to their website that Grace had mentioned, you go to the bottom of that main page, the homepage, you'll find is that you can click by state and see where there are lots of trails in your state. And when we certainly went across the country, we found some doozies.
Yeah, and it's even for walking, the trails are fantastic, the majority of them. And usually they take you through a city in a way you wouldn't normally see things. So we definitely encourage people to seek out Rails to Trails, learn more about them, and enjoy their beauty.
Okay, I'm going to do odds and ends. Are you ready? Ready. Okay, so I don't know if you all got your stimulus check. We got our double duty. And so, so what does this mean? Well, it means people are going to stimulate the economy. And Grace and I, we showed you about our garden, so we made somewhat of an investment. I don't want to call it an expense because it does make your assets worth more. So I wonder, how many of you have got some plans to use it for your RV travel or for RV gear or RVs itself. And so I know the industry is really picking up steam. So that's great that we got some money going out into the economy and getting people back to jobs. And I did hear just today on Marketplace on National Public Radio, where they were talking about that there may or may not be some inflation coming up soon to a theater year. So hopefully not too much. But yeah, the market is starting to look better, with the market, in fact, being at all-time high if you're in the stock markets. But meanwhile, because of the COVID aftershock, from delays on people not being able to get to work, transportation not moving. So I was hearing I don't know if any of you heard about Starlink. Starlink is the Elon Musk latest venture, which is to have these small dishes. They look like, what would you call them? Like an upside down umbrella, I guess. And so like a big pizza box is the size of it. And so they call it dishy, dishy. I don't know if you've heard that word before, Grace.
Dishy?
They call it the dishy.
No, I can't.
It's a cool word. Dishy in British English means sexy. Dishy.
Hey, Teresa,
dishy.
Mike, thanks for being here.
Yeah, welcome. Good to see you, Teresa, Mike. So, at any rate, yeah, I guess that even like chips for I'm trying to think, NVIDIA or whatever for computers for gamers and whatever. But yeah, these are used now in cars and RVs and things like that, smart brakes or guidance controls. But, fiberglass, I mean, even things as lumber, you would think like lumber really, but awnings, glue, tubular steel, all that stuff, even foam for the seats are tough supply these days. And then with the Texas freeze, that's also slowed down some semiconductors, but it's going to get back on their feet. But, people that say that RVs are not an investment, well, as of late, I don't know if you've gone to RV Trader or another spot and see about your RV, but it's probably gone up about 10-20% with the supply and demand problem. But I hope none of us are seller markets, but it is good to know that we've got good value for our RV these days as the demand is there. That's the good news. Bad news is, well, maybe it's not easy to get into some of these spots that we'd like to, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But at any rate, so you would think about, if you have an RV, you would say, well, I want to have an air conditioning unit. It's missing a condenser for the air conditioning. I get it fixed before I buy it. So some of these have been delayed for 6 months or more. They're just sitting there at the factory. So they need, the Apple's supply chain guru, the supply chain. That was Stephen Cook. And where is he now that we need him, Grace?
I guess he's found things to keep him busy.
I think as CEO of Apple, counting the coin, whatever. But, these days, if you haven't been keeping up with the Washington, D.C. legislators on the last administration, this one are saying, Apple, Google, Facebook, and Amazon, we want our eyes on you because you're making too much money. So stay tuned on that. But at least in our RV industry, things are kind of chunking away, and hopefully the things are being built. And even parts, if you've got a critical part in your RV that you need and you can't get it because it's in back order supply, that's not a good thing. Okay, well, next up, I guess, is Camping World. And, they've had kind of a checkered history. And I guess they've decided that there is the Good Sam name is one that it is a brand for theirs. If you have a brand such as Apple, first they got sued by Apple Records. And they say, hey, we're not into records. We're into like computers. We've got this little PC, nothing to worry about. And so the lawsuit went away until about 10, 20 years later when they said, oh, yeah, we want to get in the music industry. So they negotiated. I'm sure that this next one will also, which is the Good Samaritan Club. It is a trademark that is by the Good Sam. And so, it used to had another meaning where it's for, like social get-togethers, rallies and things. And when the CEO, Marcus Lemis, he then bought that and started having subscription sites. And when another company came out and said that they want to use a name that has Samaritan in it, then he's like, I don't think so, not so much. So sadly, we don't like to see lawsuits in our industry, but I guess, this will be an interesting one to watch is this person, Gigi, I'm trying to think of her last name, but she has been not at odds with the company for the last 10, 12 years. So
sounds like quite the soap opera.
It is kind of, isn't it? It's kind of sad that that stuff comes into the marketplace, but it does. But, Gigi Stetler is her name. And so she has a social media site, kind of like Our Village, that she wants to do, or Facebook or those type, where she wants to have, where it's an online community. So stay tuned and we'll see how that works. Speaking of Camping World, remember that their dealers are cranking it up there. They've got 180 now and counting, and they're starting to do their ultimate RV show. So if you want to take a look at the new stuff, it used to be, you had to go to Hershey, Pennsylvania, or one of these other big places like down in Los Angeles area. But now they're going on a state by state basis, probably partly because of the COVID thing. But you can get a chance to see them. And some of you RVers who are also YouTubers, get some videos there and share them with the rest of us. Let us know what the new gear that's coming out. So, and then there's Funtown RV of Texas, the great state of Texas. They've added 3 new stores. So they've ramped up their existing 11. Now they're going to have 14 stores. And guess what? They are going to also leverage, Grace. Remember last week we said one of the big industries of growth? RV maintenance, RV repair.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to have, already got one of them and then the other 2. So, if you're central United States and you want to go through Texas, check out Funtown RV because they're booming with their, and I guess have a pretty good reputation for having maintenance on RVs. So Grace, you want to talk a little bit about the Reader's Choice Awards?
All righty. Let me come back here on the screen.
Okay.
So we've got some Reader Choice Awards, and the Travel Weekly presents the winners of its 18th annual Reader's Choice Awards, and the award represents what Travel Weekly audiences consider the best in 79 categories. Some of these include the destinations, which were Maui and Las Vegas, that made the list.
Yay! Yeah, 2 of them in the United States. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and there's when you think of all the world destinations, it's definitely an honor to be on there. And theme park, Walt Disney World.
Woohoo!
Airline, car rental, hotel chains, the resort. There's a lot of 69 overall categories. So we're going to go ahead. There's also now rail vacations, which are really peaking up there. I've seen quite a few of them that are going like Regent cruise ships, but they're trains and they're really luxurious. So there's a new way to travel. And they even have the winner of River Cruises, which was, what one did we do, honey?
It should be Viking, but I don't think it was.
That's who won.
We love Viking. Oh, they did?
Yeah, they won for the
River. How about that?
So we'll also put the link for the Reader's Choice 2020 Travel Awards.
Awesome blossom.
All righty. So let's go ahead and, honey, you want to come either go off the screen for a minute so I can share mine and then come back in?
You go ahead, honey. You take control.
Well, I can't take control because you've got the front position and I can't do a shared screen. So if you go out for a minute and then you come back in. There, like that. I have a button. So let me get a shared screen here. We got a little bit of a spectacle. And that was with a couple in Idaho who were out and they got caught up in the wind, Nicki and Steve Cunningham. So this video is from The Guardian. Let me go ahead and pop that in here. That's quite the rescue.
About that, man. I mean, can you imagine 68 minutes hanging over the side of a, 80 feet or 100 feet, whatever it was, from eternity? Oh gosh, that would be frightening.
Right. So they were out to get a what is the thing for your camper, honey, that goes over the awning? they were going to get a new awning put in, and they got caught up in a windstorm, and
Wow.
their truck went over. And the part that's so ironic about this is that it was their trailer hitch and how they had it chained. They had a really good job done that caught them from falling, and they were suspended in midair for over an hour before they were able to get rescued.
Grace,
So
if
that
we
was-
ever get a fifth wheeler, if we ever get a trailer, we're going to have a damn good chain.
Well,
Maybe 2 or 3.
the sad thing with this couple is they were full timers, and they had a camper on the back of the truck and everything. They actually watched all their possessions going off the truck, as it fell 100 foot to the bottom. So there is a GoFundMe. They had a goal of getting, I had that up here now.
About 5,000, you said, give or take.
Yeah, the goal was 5,000, and they've actually reached 46,000. But if this is their life savings, and the truck's ruined and the trailer is ruined, so it's GoFundMe.com/F/Cunningham accident. So I'll also put that link in the video as well for you if anybody
Wow.
wants to.
Beautiful end of the story that, they were saved. And that would also be a good reminder, is that when we're traveling, keep that seatbelt on.
Oh yeah,
I don't want to,
that was all bad. Yeah, I have that bad habit of not wearing a seatbelt. You want to come full screen so you're not the.
Oh, okay. I guess we can do that. Let's see. I should have one of these buttons, like this one. I think we'll
Thanks
do it.
for being here, Sue. I know it's late for you there.
Yeah, that's right. Night owl. I know, especially when you have that early morning coffees. I think that's earlier in the week. So next up is, oh no, Nellie.
Whoa, Nellie.
Yeah, the Bureau of Land Management in Nevada is following not what I would call the leadership of Arizona. And what's that? Well, around the Reno area, they are closing their overnight BLM camping facilities. You could stay up to 14 days, no problemo. Or after 28 days, you can come back and stay another 14 days. So at any rate, they're not happy. Not so much that people have been extending their stay beyond 14 days, but I guess at several locations, Golden and Sun Valley facilities, and a third one, I guess, off of near State Route 50, which is going up towards Tahoe. They've said not so much anymore. They're shutting them down starting in April because, well, people aren't cleaning up. And this happened, I think, by Sedona, Arizona, up in the northern part of Arizona towards Grand Canyon.
So we have
people were leaving trash there. So this is not a good thing. What's that, Grace?
We have Bernard with us from the Philippines. So why don't you give him a little background on what our BLM land is?
Okay, he may know, but basically, up in the mountains, the federal government owns, well, about almost 50% of the undeveloped land. And so in the mountains, it's the National Forest Service. Ostensibly, there's trees, and in trees, there's forests. And then in the lower elevations, let's say in Nevada or Arizona, are places where there isn't a lot of trees. They just call that just the Bureau of Land Management. Should have a sexier name, but I don't know what it would be. But anyway, we normally call it BLM land. And so there's a lot of that occupies the southern states as well.
And it's a great place, especially now with the surge in all the RVs and the campers and the trailers and people getting out there and spending and booking all the more traditional sites that have the showers and the family fun. So this is a great place for those of us that have solar or can live off grid for a while to be out there where it's more rustic.
So you get the government when things don't go well. It kind of reminds me, speaking of government, when I was in the military, the U.S. Army for 3 years, and they had group punishment if you did something wrong. No. And then, it was all of a sudden they'd say, well, can't do that. And we're so they're saying that they'll do more of them too if this continues. So they just don't have the funding. It's not like it's just punishment for punishment reason, but they've already are underfunded. I don't know if you're aware, but $15 billion, that's with a big B, in national parks of deferred maintenance. And so, yeah, they just have a limited budget. And the last administration, they cut about $1 billion out of the funds for this year. So I don't know if the new administration is going to try to get that back somewhere, but there ain't a lot of money to take care of picking up other people's trash removal.
Right, exactly. So we have a responsibility, when we're out there to make sure we are cleaning up after ourselves and keeping it where you'd want to go back again and not just thrash it and ruin it.
Okay, Grace, do you want to do number 5?
Okay, what is number 5?
Something about U.S.-Canada border.
This is just really brief, but according to the Canada border restrictions, non-essential travel ban has been extended, unfortunately, now until April 21st. So due to COVID, if it's non-essential, those borders are not going to be opening up right away. So another month for sure. Yeah,
well, I guess a month, I guess I'm sure people just can't wait. But, as the spring comes and hopefully, I got to say, what are they, like over 80 million shots have been given? And Grace had hers on Monday. And I've got my 2 in. So she had a little pinga in the shoulder. So at any rate, yeah, it'd be nice if we can all be healthy, wealthy, and wise, or a couple of the 3 anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I can imagine that just like us chomping at the bit to get out, the Canadians. In fact, I saw something, I heard it today. Have you ever heard of Camp Roberts, I think it's called, or Fort Roberts, honey? You probably haven't ever heard of that, have you? That's as far north as you can get on the west side, where they, back when United States and Canada finally had an agreement, a treaty on which land is, they said that the deepest gorge and all these islands are the ones that determine. And there's this Camp Roberts where if you want to go from the United States owned entity to the United States, you got to go through Canada. And they're saying it must be essential. You have to prove to us it's essential to the Canadians. You got to stay in your car and then you can go across. But there's only like one store that's only open part-time, and same for the gas station because, nobody's got much money these days.
West Coast.
Yeah, that's right. So I guess that, it's one where it's a bugger.
What is that, on the East Coast or the West Coast?
No, that's the West Coast. By where would you call it? By Vashon Island, up in that area up north of Seattle. So at any rate,
we're going to get up there.
Yeah. Should we do the next item?
Okay.
We're working our way through it. Montana, cowboy country. Grace and I are watching Longmire out there, but that's Wyoming. I kind of feel like I'm a little bit more in tune with my cowboy buddies.
They visit Montana and South Dakota. Yes. They have like cases where they travel in between. Does anybody else watch Longmire? We're only on, what season are we on? 5?
4 or 5. Yeah, 5.
Yeah, we're on season 5. So don't spoil any endings for us.
That's right. But by the way, if you are in the state of Washington, Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, maybe South Dakota, Minnesota, Michigan, Maine, if you were interested in the Starlink, I've been doing a lot of studying Starlink. At first I thought, I don't know, but people who do not live rural locations and are looking for faster internet service, north of 42 degrees latitude, up in Canada and the northern states they've going as low as 37 degrees. And that's us. That's great. I think we're 38.2 or something like that is up in the Bay Area. But they're saying some of the people who want to get in the beta trial, it's $500 for the satellite dish and then $100 a month, and your speeds are like 150 megabits per second down and better part of 100 megabits up, and the super low latency because the satellites we almost have to duck when they come by. They're only 350 miles up, not like the ones where I worked at a satellite earth station. They're all 22,300 miles away. But yeah, this is really starting to take off. So if you are in the northern states are interested, go to starlink.com and see if you can get involved with the trial. Okay, so at any rate, Montana legislature, they are frontiersmen, kind of like Alaskans or Texans. They like to kind of keep the ball moving. And so they're saying they're going to allow the RV length to be increased. So, 40 feet. Our neighbor had a Class C toy hauler, not Class C, a fifth wheel toy hauler. And his was 40 feet. And he got stopped one time because he didn't have his Class A license, because it is a big sucker. But Montana's, oh, no, it's not that big. And they're going to go up to 46 feet.
Okay, so I have a question.
Wow, that's a long trailer. And I know what it is. Go ahead.
Long trailer.
Long trailer. Good one, honey.
If Montana is going to allow their vehicles to be made at 46 feet and they're going to go to the state Senate to pass a bill, how is that RV going to work in other states?
Well, that's a jurisdictional matter. You bring up a good point. So if another state says we have reciprocity, what happens in your state, we'll let it happen in our state. But, California, we're going to be like heck, you're going to have a 46-footer. Ain't no way. Our California Highway Patrol, we're going to be waiting at the border, and we're going to get your signature on a piece of paper, and we're going to turn you back around. So yeah, I don't think they're going to be coming into California.
Yeah, that's long. So going back a little bit more on the Starlight, both Mike and Teresa and Corey and Lori are talking about looking more into Starlink. And is that you, Corey, that he has a coworker that is getting Starlink in northern Michigan?
Yeah, I tell you, I could talk about this topic for hours. Because, when Grace is having nice shut-eye at night, I'm like learning more about what's Elon Musk doing now. But here's the deal, and you've probably seen it from point to point. Well, what's that mean for the RVs? Well, right now, it's only for a fixed location. So your dishy, McDuffie, they sometimes talk about, but your satellite dish is only good within your grid, or actually they call it your cell. And the cell's about 20 or 30 miles across. But, we really right now have 1,000 satellites going across, and they have about, I think it's about 60 in each orbit. And there's about 20 orbits, so they're covering certainly the northern hemisphere, because the satellites, they go up and then they come back down. It's kind of an elliptical pattern. So they're launched at a 53-degree angle, not just flat over the equator. So they're going up and down. And so the point being is that there's a lot of coverage in the northern hemisphere, or down like Australia when it's going around there. But it's not going to work on mobile, because the location of your satellite that's nearest your location is something that the way it's designed right now, it's not going to work. Now, they have a filing with the FCC to say, we're going to want to go ahead and do that. There's even some factors such as, how much radiated power. I would not recommend standing right in front of it. I see some people got them when they're turned on and they're looking at them. Microwave energy at 10 and 13 gigahertz is not a good thing to have near your eyes. But the point is, if you have it up on the roof and, it's kind of bolted down, but when it comes to the RVs, they're saying is that it has to be professionally mounted. They're not going to let people just willy-nilly put them up their own. But so stay tuned. It may be this year. It may be this time next year, but it will be coming on RVs. And as long as you have the better part of 100 degrees that you can see across the sky, and there is actually an application on the cell phone, you hold it up and it shows where's the satellite at, and or what's the satellite your grid. And so you can kind of get a feel, but basically they're saying if you can see 53 degrees north and have a fairly nice pattern, that's fine, because the satellites are moving at a moderate speed. They're only going 17,500 miles an hour, but what's that? But there's more coming all the time. So that's a little bit of how it works. But I mean, from a standpoint of $100 a month for a super fast service with super low latency, yeah, some people think that's a better deal than, and no caps right now either. No caps at all. We'll see how long that is. But
so Corey says he's excited they came through and they marked everything to lay the fiber in front of his house. So that's pretty close.
Oh, how nice is that, Corey?
Can you come up full screen before we go to the next topic, please?
Oh, do I have to? Okay.
Yeah, I feel like you're my little mini-me or something.
That's how I am.
There.
I look up to you, darling. So, at any rate, there's one thing I should say there, and that is that I've not heard anybody see this, but if you look in the FCC filings, Elon Musk and company is saying our focus is not going to be in the major cities. So, 95% of the existing that goes on with cable or fiber or cellular in the metro areas, that's still, they're not going to try to tackle those markets. This is where, in fact, they got $900 million. They mean Space Link, Starlink, SpaceX. They got $900 million from the FCC. And, the government just doesn't like to hand out that kind of money too much. But for them to develop the rural areas, and especially for people for education and to be able to do business in their community, it's a wonderful thing. So for people who are out in the boonies, this is good. And hopefully our RVers in the next coming year, we'll start to see some of them pop up around on RVs.
Did you ask me about 5 minutes ago if you could talk at length about it?
I did, yeah. And you said, "Oh, great." You said talk a half an hour. I thought you said. Okay, but if you have any questions, I'll be doing some videos on that. But it's we all, I think, would agree is that the internet is here to stay, and it can be seductive. I mean, sometimes, like when we were out at the Valley of Fire up there about 40 miles east of Las Vegas, we had no cell service, and somehow we got along fine, didn't we, for a couple days?
Yeah, it was actually kind of nice. We had to talk to each other. I actually got to paint, which is always nice.
That's right.
or color. I was coloring for a little while. That time, and we're gonna bridge over a little to what's happening with travel and with COVID. So I do have a couple of topics on that, and one is COVID news. Will you need a COVID-19 vaccine passport to travel? According to USA Today.
Well, USA Today, I mean, okay, well, it's got to be the real deal, sort of. What does USA Today say?
USA Today says I lost my paper. Sorry about
They
that.
said just read them and buy more because they're advertisers like us, and will keep us going well as the money. So, at any rate.
So airlines and others in the travel industry are throwing their support behind so-called vaccine passports to boost pandemic-depressed travel. So it looks as though technology companies and travel-related trade groups are developing and testing various versions of the vaccine passports. These will be available for your cell phones or other forms of proof that they're talking about. And apparently the Biden administration is weighing in that they also want there to be a paper version. So I know now when we went through the Panama Canal, I had to get, what shot did I had to get a shot. Do you remember?
Probably yellow fever, I think is what I had to have. I think that you needed that too.
So I did have to have that, and I had to have the paperwork stating that I had that. So I think it's going to be along that lines, and it sounds like that's a good possibility. On that same line of thinking, it looks as though, and this is good news, some of the cruise ships are opening up again. So I know a lot of us love our RVs, and some of us love to cruise the ocean as well. So Royal Caribbean is going to open up some cruises from the Bahamas. And it looks like most of them are going to be 5 to 7 days, but they are also requiring that you have proof that you've been vaccinated or that you have tested negative. And the bookings are going to open on Wednesday for sailing beginning as early as June 12th. So you've been itching to go on a cruise. Now's the time to get those tickets.
Yes, indeedy. I do remember my days when I was up there at the high seas. I would do month-long as a guest lecturer teaching of all things, the card game of bridge. And that would be a couple segments, maybe even 1/3 of the way around around the world, excuse me. The people who did the full, all the way around the world on Crystal, 50,000 to 200,000, just chump change for them, I'm sure.
Did you want
what's that?
Your screen behind you still?
Yeah, I can tell you. But basically, the point being is that they were they called us only did like 1/3 of the way around. They call a segmenteer. We were kind of, oh, you're just a segmenteer kind of person. That wasn't quite that bad, but yeah, some people go all the way across the world. But they're going to open up a little bit at a time, make sure that it's going to be healthy. Have the HEPA filters running and do the social distancing when needed and so on. So yeah, and then even things like food and their wait staff and everything. So
Yeah,
so that'll be good for people who do want to go travel, do airline travel, or who want to do cruise travel. It's going to be opening up soon.
Yeah, the HEPA filters are proving to really be a huge factor. I know in the schools, that's where a lot of the money's gone to get the filters in for the students.
I mean, I don't like to be selfish, but isn't it true? If more people in the United States can go in cruise ships or travel abroad, is that maybe they'll be a little bit more open up for the rest of us who want to go in our RVs or camping?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, come on, guys, let them go. Let them go.
Which also on other news, some of the higher end hotels are starting to take Bitcoin. So if you
are you serious?
So if you've been dying to go on vacation and you're tired of going out in the RV and the camping and all that roughing it stuff, and you want to get back out there and do cruises and airlines and hotels, Bitcoin is now being accepted at some of the major luxurious hotels.
And what is the current cost for Bitcoin?
I have no idea.
$54,544.80. I remember 3 years ago when it was like $1,400. I thought, what a stupid fad. It's going to go down to zero. Well, let's see. That would be about 40 times it would have gone up. So, so it's amazing, isn't it, how these virtual currencies have a place in the world.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
This is getting just a little bit far afield, but Grace and I earlier today, we were talking about environment and ecology and energy usage and so on. Had the same discussion with my mom today. And Bitcoin, I can't remember how much energy it takes for the people who do the harvesting when their computers to try to get a ledger, which is kind of gets detailed. But there is umpteen gigawatts of power that's used to come up with Bitcoins.
So Corey had one BTC and he bought it for $230 and sold it for $850.
Hey!
And then he says, he says, how stupid was I? How much is that 850 now?
Corey, I got to tell you, it was in 1979, I guess, when I got my Microsoft stock for $3,100. And I sold it a year later for $36. And then if I would have hung on it was over $1 million after the first 6-7 years. So it had so many splits after I sold it. So hindsight is always so 2020.
But who knows, honey? Some other woman might have came and grabbed you, and you wouldn't have even been available for.
There, see, that's right, honey. Yes, look.
On the bright side.
Ah. So, do we have anything else? I think we've kind of covered most of the show stuff, haven't we? So, it's been great to have you all here.
$54,000.
Oh, Corey. That would get you a lot of, what would you get? A lot of Blackstone gear or whatever. Get yourself a new trailer. I know you guys have been talking about kind of upgrading your rig too. So, yeah, that would be a lot of fun if you can just keep your eyes open, but have a diversified portfolio because you don't want to buy when things are at the top.
So
that's
is there
the rub.
Any news out there that anybody would like to come on and share with us?
Yeah, if you want to tell us about your travel plans, this is a travel show. So if you want to tell us, if you want to come on and join us for a couple of minutes, we're happy to talk to you. Or if you just want to have it there, Kathleen, good to see you there. And yes, Grace is priceless. She's like Bitcoin plus. Not the C++, Bitcoin plus. So thanks for putting the link up there. And if you kind of want to join us. And
I am your Microsoft shares.
You are my Microsoft shares. That is well said. So, at any rate, yeah, we are looking forward to doing a trip with this good weather. We had just one day of rain. It's like, man, we're kind of wondering about when it comes to be. We have 5 seasons. The 5th season being the fire season. Damn it!
Yeah, I'm
But
really afraid of that this year.
yeah, but we are looking forward to getting out again, and we have said we will this spring do Harvest Host. We have not done one of those yet.
Yeah,
Had it
we're
for
hoping
several
to do
years.
that in the next couple of weeks for sure.
Yeah, at least do an overnighter. And I just saw a fellow Rotarian, one of the other clubs, and they were going down to Paso Robles. This is Central California, near the ocean, and yeah, they were talking about staying at Harvest Host there. They've done that before, but yeah, it's fun.
Robert is here with us from RV Weekends. I'm going to go ahead and bring him on. I wish I had some fancy
Awesome.
music to add.
Hey, Robert.
Hello, how are you?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Nice to see you guys. First time
Yeah.
we're live. Appreciate you bringing me up.
And Robert has got a great channel out there, and he's you're live stream much more than us. What are you doing, about 2 or 3 days a week now, or are you up to 7?
You know what? This month was a heavy live stream month because I went to Bike Week and I was on site doing live streams and Bike Week.
Oh, wow.
Are you a biker?
How long did you ride?
I have been a biker for my whole life, but I'm in between bikes. I took a Dave Ramsey course and I've led a Dave Ramsey course and I've traded my Gold Wing in for a scooter. Got out of debt.
Oh, I didn't know you had bikes there. And yeah, that's hard when you've got a Harley or something like that to let that puppy go. But tell us about a scooter. Is it electric or gas, or what is it?
No, it's a gas scooter. It's a 150cc Honda. It's called a PCX. So it's not slow and it's fast, but it's not like an interstate scooter. So I could go on the interstate and stay up to speed, but I wouldn't want to do it a long time.
Yeah. How many cc's is it?
150.
150.
Wow.
Is it more of a street or a road bike, or?
It's I would call it my Key West and San Augustine historic area touring scooter. It's my camping scooter.
He loves that area. Yeah. And when we were down, speaking of which, down in Southern California, I guess this was around San Diego, wasn't it, Grace, where we saw the people, it was not a Vespa, but something like that. Remember, they had them on the back of their trailer, and I was kind of drooling over that too. So it's just the right size.
Yes, it has lots of storage under the seat, so you could put, a 12-pack of soda, some chips, and whatever underneath there, a rotisserie chicken underneath the seat, and take it home and enjoy it. And you can seat 2 people on it, so it's got pegs for the back person and pegs for the front.
Love it. So now you got a trailer. So do you have a spot for it on the trailer, or how would you do that?
I put it in the bed of my pickup truck.
Oh yeah, of course. Sweet.
Nice. Michael and I, we seriously looked at those. Michael had to convince me of all my, what would you call it, honey?
Your foibles.
That's basically what it is, but he has a nicer word for it.
Foibles.
He had to convince me. So we went with the e-bikes, and he knew he does a late night online shopping. And so he did all his studying before he even approached the situation. And he says, right, I think we're going to get e-bikes. Well, what about this? And before I could have any objection, had an answer. So we have helmets that talk to each other, so I can't get lost behind them. We've got my words are not coming to me tonight.
While you're doing that, let me just say, I can run, but I can't hide there because I can be a quarter of a mile away. It's beyond Bluetooth range, and she's right there in my head, everywhere.
You're right there in my ear. The Garmin, we have you can track behind you the radar, so you can see the cars that are coming when you're on the road. So he got everything figured out. It was perfect.
Robert, have you ever heard of those? I'm trying to think with it. It's made by Garmin, and it does use a Bluetooth to connect to your GPS. But what it does is it has a radar signal. It emits in the direction it's pointed, which is out behind you. And as a vehicle is about half a mile behind you, you'll see a little indication on your screen. You'll hear it, and at the bottom, I always need a demonstration. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little white dot, and it starts getting closer, like closing into like a block, a half a block. And if there's 3 of them, you'll see 3 dots that are moving. And if one goes off in a different direction, it's like, okay. So, and then as they get by you, you know when they're close. So even though you have a mirror, it's we kind of like just a little extra safety. And so if I see like a dog or something, hey Grace, there's a dog or a bump coming up in the road. So it's kind of like we can be each other's wingman, can't we?
Kathleen asks trepidations. Trepidations?
A trepidation. That's right. I like that word. That's a great choice there, Kathleen. She must be a force to reckon with when you play Scrabble, or in Grace's case, Word for Friends. Robert, you ever play any of those games?
I don't play Scrabble really, because that's a lot of thinking. I like simple games like Yahtzee.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we love Yahtzee. Yeah.
On the RV. And then my grandkids and I have been playing Uno.
Yes. You know, the problem with Uno, the game hardly ends. It's just a hard game to finish.
Yeah. Well, you know, it ends pretty quickly when you're playing with a 7-year-old and an 11-year-old. And they always win.
How about Uno Attack? Have you ever played Uno Attack?
No.
No.
Yes, it's a mechanized game. And if you can't lay something down, you have to, it's a plastic apparatus, and it has a chute with cards on top, and the chute, you put cards inside. And when you can't, get a card to lay down, you push the button and it randomly spits cards at you. So you could get like 1 card, or you could get 5 cards, or you could get 8 cards spit at you.
Oh my, they would not like that. I could hear them crying all the time.
That's what I mean. Yes, but
that's so much fun.
I used up all my StreamYard minutes for the month of March, so I had to use Restream to finish my month out with.
Oh, that's a way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I usually do a live on Tuesday night, and I do a premiere on Tuesday night right before my live, and then I'll do a live on Thursday night that is about marriage, about men being better husbands to their wives.
I've watched that one. Yes.
And I do a Friday one that is like around 3 p.m. Eastern time. That is right after a raid parade. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a thing where premieres happen one after another in sequence, and people go from raid to raid to raid to each parade. To each premiere. And then when that's over, I go live for about an hour or so. And then I do a live on Saturday night. I do a Saturday night live at about 11 for whoever will show up. Just a small little get together.
That keeps
nice.
Yeah, and then you go out on the RV on the weekends?
I do it usually once or twice a month. March is my slowest month, but I have 2 trips in April, and I have a trip in every month all the way till October. I don't have anything, but November I have Thanksgiving with my family at Anastasia State Park in St. Augustine. And
you are
I go to the Keys every year, so I'll be in the Keys for 2 weeks on the water. I got a site on the water. So I'm looking forward to that at Bahia Honda State Park. So that's going to be real exciting.
That'll be a great getaway. You well deserve it. And it's nice you have, I guess I would call it a diversified portfolio where you do a little, I got to get back on the screen here, a little bit of this and that, and where you have a variety. Have you found that you like having them all, or do you see yourself in the future kind of focusing on just 1 or 2, or are you going to be a variety show?
If I would say that it would depend on the fandom and also the money stream, when that day comes. I'm not monetized, but when that day comes, it would depend on what is most profitable. Because I know how-to videos are very good. People love how-to videos.
DIYs are great.
For some reason, live streams are very popular. I can't understand why they are, but they are. I get more views from live streams than I do from any video I create, and it takes no effort to do a live stream, and it takes tons of effort to make a video. It
can. Well, at least as Grace would say, it does for me. But yeah, that's a good answer. When it's all said and done, you have to do something that you're passionate about. And if you're saying I'll be passionate for whatever the audience wants to see, well, that's a fair observation also. But it's interesting because, the YouTube algorithms look at, what is the view time? And they should. I mean, if we take a look, what makes them profitable is where they can have advertisements. So, if you have a view time that is not very long, and then the click-through rate. So you start to see these different things. But I like that people like Tim Smoyer with Video Creators, he says, there are 3 types of videos. You remember us talking about that, Grace?
Yes.
Yeah. And so the first one would be a discovery video. And this is going to be short. You're going to spend a lot of time. It's going to have a lot of polish, but you want to get them to watch more of what's on your playlist. You want them to get to know, like, and trust. So that's the discovery. And then the second one's the one you're doing, and the one that we're doing now, those are community. So it's where, okay, they found you, however they did, and now they're getting to get to more, hopefully, where they like you and maybe even trust you a little bit. And if later on you want a sales video for whatever it is, maybe just have people watching more videos, or maybe you have, a sponsorship or affiliates, go to Amazon. I think you'll like these things. I did my DIYs, but those are kind of, I like that idea of the 3 categories. So yeah, you putting a lot of time in it because you started, a new channel here now, and you're kind of, what to do. It's just having the tenacity to put the time in it.
Right.
And speaking of that, is that I see where, I'm sorry, Grace, go ahead.
That's RV Weekends. So if you haven't yet, make sure to check him out and see Robert's videos and his live streams as well.
There's no space between the V and the W. It's all one word, RV Weekends.
All righty. And we're at our 1 hour. How do you want to show?
And one thing I did want to say about Kathleen, thank you for that note, is she's talking to us about the Oregon tour. And, we are going to, one way or another, whether we have to be drug across the border, is to go to Oregon and Washington this year. Last year, when we did our Around the United States tour, got 36 states. We, unfortunately, went from the Bay Area up towards Sacramento, went over there to the Reno area after Tahoe, and then went up to Elko, and we never did get to go up to the northern states. So we are going to do that, Kathleen, come hell or high water. Right, honey?
Definitely. And we always thank you for being here and spending the time with us. If you have any RV news or you hear anything coming up about travel, go ahead and send us out a shout out at Michael@ctv.com or Grace at CTV.
Wait a second. Not just ctv.com. ctvfun.com
or CTV
or functv.com. Michael at ctvfun.com.
A long sentence. So thanks again for being here, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, good to see you there, Robert. You're looking well tonight. You a happy camper, and come on over next week if you're available, and we'll do some more of this.
Sounds great. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate
it. Sing, Robert?
I'm sorry?
Can you sing?
I can sing background. How about that?
Okay. Well, we're going to do the old happy trails. Are you until we meet again? That's how we kind of
I'd
finish
be happy to do that.
Yeah. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Happy trails to you until we meet again. I wish I knew the rest of the song. I don't, but that was good. You did very good there. And you can do it whether it's at church or whether it happens to be virtually online. So thanks for being here, Robert, and the rest of you all there. Happy trails.